Jill, good to talk to you in the middle of this energy ball, this expo hall at a conference. Biggest collection of PTs in the world. Did you know that?
I kind of got a sense of that. Last year, I think they said 18,000.
18,000. This year, a little smaller. I think, cold weather, Northeast. But I don't think the energy feels any smaller. So
No, not at all.
it's good together with people who get excited about similar things and are here to learn.
Absolutely.
So you've got a story, I was told. I don't know the story. I don't want to know the story. I tell people all the time, like, do you want to know before we talk? And my answer is always, no. I like when things are real, right? So you've got a story that is really personal to you, that you shared in a different format, in more of a, I won't put too much, it was like a TED Talk sort of format, like a meaningful, crafted, well thought out story. And obviously, if you're going to take the time to craft that story, it meant something a lot to you. I'm guessing anyway. I don't put words in your mouth. But help me understand it. Where's that story start?
Yeah, so I think it's for me to just paint the picture for you, start from
Go ahead.
the very beginning. So I am a physical therapist, multi-site clinic director, deep in the trenches still, right? But I've been with ATI since I first started out of school. So that's almost 9 years now. So I've been with the ATI for that long, and I was super excited and passionate when I first came to my onboarding. And I remember my onboarding day, I walked in, I was so wowed, looking at the corporate office and the behind the scenes. It was just so cool. I met all the leaders that were throughout the company, and they were just so excited to share everything about ATI, right? I heard personal stories about our beneficiaries from the ATI Foundation. But the biggest thing was we got this timeline tour. We got to see the history of the company, and it just was so cool to be surrounded by that. But the biggest thing was they ingrained their culture here. Like, I learned our mission statement, the values of ATI. And after that first day, I was so proud to be at a company that makes such a big impact on patients in the community.
Yeah.
And it just set a really good first foot into the, right, as a first job.
Good.
So I kept that passion for 5 years. And then the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
And we all know about the pandemic and the struggles and everything. And we all struggle differently. But for me personally, I was struggling with short-staffed. We saw a lot of people leave the industry at that time, and I was personally challenged because I was the only evaluator in both of my clinics. And so I felt like I was spreading myself way too thin, right? And then attrition rates were rising in the industry, and I was just afraid to lose my people. So I really focused on them happy and putting their happiness first and my happiness on the back burner, essentially. But then you layer in all the other social unrest that was going on during the time. Like, you remember that.
Yeah.
It was rough. So you layer that and the anxieties of that. And then I'm also a director in the clinic, right? So I have to play the COVID to make sure that everybody felt comfortable, right? And it was just a lot of pressure. I was firing on all cylinders for really just way too long. And burnout was so real. And I finally hit my rock bottom in 2022. And bottom meaning Jill lost who she was. She lost sight of why I was at PT. Like, why was I I had all these thoughts every day. I'd come home and be, I need to leave. Maybe the grass is greener somewhere else. Maybe I need to pivot and do something else. Like, essentially and that was a very terrible feeling. And I'm sure a lot of people kind of could with that. They've been there for a second, for whatever reason. It was very uncomfortable. And I knew deep down that wasn't. Unfortunately, I had family members, friends, and Jill, I don't want you. And so that forced me to reflect. And I think that's something T should always give that time. And I reflected, and my thoughts were transporting me back to like my first days at that onboarding day, right? And I just thought about, that feeling of being passionate and energetic and fresh. So I tried to channel that mentality. And I just thought about the community of patients, coworkers that I have that felt more like friends and family. I thought about my entire journey with ATI and the leaders that have can support me. But overall, I also remembered and connected with the fact that ATI at its core aligns with my value. And so why would I want to walk away from that? That's really hard to find,
Sure.
Right? I think earlier when we were chatting, you talked about it. Sometimes it's hard to feel at the company, right? And if you feel like you fit, maybe don't think about walking.
Right.
So with that being said, I had started socializing this idea. I pulled myself out of this burnout. I took the steps to get myself out of there to turn this around because I love the place. Why would I? So fortunately, I've had really great leadership. We talked about how we really should, invest in our staff experience and re-spotlight our culture, because essentially that's what anchored me here, right? It anchored me and rooted me into the. So we talked about how can we do this, right? And how, more importantly, how can I inspire others to be an ambassador for our company? That's just a little spiel that I had.
Well,
That's my story.
What was the turning point that made you say, no, I'm going to fight? Because it sounds like you felt claustrophobic, or I don't know what it is, and we've all felt that way, maybe some way, shape, or form, where I'm going to run. Fight is very basic, fight or flight. And you had that reaction, and then you paused, which I thought was great, and you said, wait, what am I running away from? What am I going to run to?
Exactly.
This is going to follow me.
Exactly.
Let me change the environment instead of letting the environment change me. You said, this isn't me. This doesn't feel like me.
It was first realizing, it's hard to say, like, okay, Jill, do you not like to do anymore? And I couldn't honestly say that. And then I checked.
You couldn't say that you didn't like. You still did love.
I still love PT.
Got it. Okay,
yes.
good.
I was like, so why would I pivot?
Okay, keep going.
Right. Then the other thing was, I love the company that I work for. Maybe I'm just in a hard spot.
Okay.
So I feel like if I had to leave, that moment would be like, I don't like what I'm doing. I don't like where I'm at. I'm true, and I couldn't say that. So why would I pivot?
Right.
So let's dig into that, Jill. Let's do the work, right? If you have that passion and that loyalty, company, and loyalty starts on.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what inspired my want to strengthen our onboarding. That's a whole nother topic in itself, but that's something that I strive to be.
Yeah.
Bring that emotional connection day one. Cultivate that through years.
Well, now let's get to the
bring that
how.
loyalty.
Let's get to the specifics. How'd you do it? Because, well, first of all, the thing that we all experienced in different ways, by the way, right? We all went through the pandemic. I heard a great way to frame that, which is we were all in the same storm. Doesn't mean we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
Some of us had a really stable boat. Some of us didn't. Some of us had a leaky boat. So what was it for you that, okay, you made the decision, no, I like this place. I need to change some things.
Yeah.
What were some of the things that you were able to inspire others to change? What were some of the things that you were able to, it sounds like you did a lot of reflection.
Yeah.
How can I change or help to cause change here to make this better?
Well, before I had to go into changing others, I had to change myself, right?
Great.
So
Love
a
it.
lot of growth. So actually, I remembered that ATI had benefit for mental health.
Ew.
So I did some investigation, went through our HR department, and found out, hey, we get some mental health benefits through. So I did therapy.
Yeah. Who knew?
I put in that time,
Yeah.
and I really do think it helps. Like whether it be therapeutic or coaching, whatever it is. So that gave me the tools to to vent, needed a sounding board, but also get
Self-care.
Yes. So that therapy really, really helped. But one of the tools that helped as a leader and as a manager was automating different process that I had to do, right? I know I had to do. So Excel spreadsheet, love them.
That is where you and I differ, but keep going.
But in the sense for me, I need that validation to know that I'm doing a good job.
Got it.
And I had to lay it out that way.
Yeah.
So even though nothing has changed in my processes, putting that in to validate my processes for my mental concerns.
Keep going.
All right, so that was me. Secondly, the work-life balance. So what we actually started doing, my husband and I, every Tuesday is date night.
There you go.
And date night could be anything. It could just be like, yeah, we're just going to hang out on the couch and watch a movie, or we actually go and do something. But really scheduling in that time to commit to each other. Phones down.
Yeah.
But another thing, too, and I think biggest thing to burnout around was set boundaries.
Okay. Talk to me about
And
that.
I've had tons of people tell me this all the time, like, hey, Jill, just slow down. But to hear it from somebody else and a person will say, like, hey, we set boundaries. So, being somebody who wants to succeed all the time, being a little driven, want to do well, want to help others and be a leader for others. The problem was I took on everyone else's problem. So I was available. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be available, but set those boundaries. So I'd be on vacation. I'm sitting with my family on the right. So it's not a life or death situation. You can answer. So just setting those boundaries, like this is personal life, this is work life, and easily find the balance with it. And
Well, it sounds like you did something that is simple but not easy, which is I'm in a bad situation, therefore I'm going to leave. That was your first response. Then you took a breath and said, hang on a second, what do I not like? And I forget the guy who gave this talk. He said the best way or a great tool in mental health is when you're in a situation, write down all the things in that situation that are bothering you, that are there. Mm-hmm. Now cross out all the ones you cannot possibly control. then get to work on focusing what is left. Let those things that you crossed out go. You just told me you cannot control them, right? It just sounds like you said mental health. Can I control my perspective, and can I access health?
Yeah.
I've got it.
Yeah.
It's great to have. It's better to use it, right?
Yeah.
Right? So you started there, and then you said, okay, then you started to do more of a self-assessment. You can't change the environment.
Yeah, so I want to actually piggyback off that.
Go ahead.
So you met with Kurt earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he has been a mentor of mine first started. And so there was a sounding time where we need to talk. I'm not doing it. He saw the light was out of me, right? I lost we met again following after all of my work to better my mental health. And he asked me a really profound question. He goes, so Jill, did anything actually change you though? Like all of the challenges that you were struggling, any of that? And I was like, no. I appreciated the fact that he asked me that because it gave me even more reflection. You're right. Nothing has changed. Honestly, the pandemic is still happening.
Right.
There's still environmental. What changed was my
Yeah.
and talking about how I needed that validation. But yeah, my mindset just, and I saw the positive. I was like, okay, almost like, the ladder, the accountability ladder. So instead of being a victim, I flipped that mindset to ownership, and that's really how I dug it out. And I just felt better, even though nothing.
Guy you're talking to right now, me, but I agree with 100% of that. Me 10 years ago, I would have said that sounds really fluffy. It's really funny but my mindset about mindset had to change. That's literally it. 10 years ago, I would have been like, okay, great, but what do I need to do? What's the checklist? Like, what are the things I need to tangibly do? And the first one really is, it sounds as if you're saying, it is changing a frame of mind. And that sounds like new agey, self-helpy, but you need to be in the mindset of, oh, I think I hear what she's saying deep down it was, and I like how Kurt framed that was, did anything actually change externally?
Yeah.
No. Couldn't change it anyway.
Right.
As much as you wanted
Control
to.
the controllables.
So you did. You said, okay, I'm going to own this, and I will start by changing my mindset. Have you ever heard of Stoicism?
Well, yes.
Like Ryan Holiday, he does like the Daily Stoic. He's got a podcast and a book.
Okay.
And I heard about that, and the word stoic to me meant, stiff and rigid and just nothing bothers you. And Ryan Holiday sort of reframes it where it's more of a tool. It's not that. It's life is happening. Mm-hmm. It's not really happening to you, but it's happening around you, and it's you are responsible, and you get to own your reaction to it.
Okay.
Like, listen, Jill, you're amazing, but the universe isn't really doing anything to you. The universe is universing, and then Jill gets to decide how Jill reacts and what Jill does in that situation.
Yeah.
And it really does start with, that's why Stoicism is really a thought process or a belief. It's not a religion, right? It's this thought process of saying, oh, okay, I own this.
Yeah.
And when I own this, I can have some control. And when I have some control, maybe later I can have more control.
But and I think that's something that we embed in our culture. We have mentors in our company, whether they're informal or to kind of make sure that you stay that.
Yeah.
To make sure to help you kind of connect with what are your values. Does it still align with the company's values?
Right.
And if so, why don't we make sure we protect that?
Right. Tactical advice. If someone maybe is listening and nodding along with you going, oh my gosh, she's describing a lot of things are familiar. If things that you're saying are familiar to someone listening, what would the first one? I'm not going to give 10 things. I want like one or two because you have to do them. Again, saying them or putting them on a list doesn't know. Where should someone start?
Well, I think the number one thing, I talked about reflection. Carve in the time, whether it be quarterly, annually, whatever it might be. I know for my staff, at our January staff meeting, we kick off the year. Hey, let's do an activity real quick to self-reflect, and then I have them share, right, so that everybody can know what's for each other. And we right now we're hanging that up, and I said, hang on to that till, and the next was still hold true.
Are we still on track for that?
Yeah. And if not, that's okay. But let's have a conversation about it, right? Let's just make sure.
Yeah, don't change the goal. Don't change the goal. Change the process or change the plan.
Yeah.
I like that.
So give yourself or give your team.
Okay.
Right. So learn your values, because what does that mean? You're learning your why and you're remembering your why. And if you remember your why and you wake up every day doing what you did to that why, then it's not work anymore.
Yeah, it's a North Star.
Right.
You can get lost, but as long as you understand what your North Star is, you can find your way towards that. All right. Now, second one. What do you think? It sounds like you looked around and looked for things that were low lift, high ROI. And the first one that you brought up was I accessed benefits that were already there. There were tools laying there. Hammer's great. Sitting on a desk, though, doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you said, oh, I think this tool is what I need now. This is the right tool right now. And it sounds as if that gave you some more tools. It's a great thing about mental health. It's kind of just loads you up on. It's a tool that gives you tools to use in different situations. It sounds like you access that tool.
So definitely, I mean, I would say proponent of therapy. If you're not comfortable taking a step, find a mentor or a friend or a colleague.
Yeah.
I think we're great that I've experienced personally in ATI. I have a couple direct leadership. Like I said, they number one were assigned to encourage me to take like the day off.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about the numbers that they're telling me that, right? Like,
so it is and it isn't, because it sounds like you're more important than the numbers, and they realize our numbers come from people, and if we treat our people well, then that takes care of itself.
Exactly.
So it's not pay attention to the numbers. It's understand what things actually produce the thing.
Yeah.
We don't sell stuff. We provide a service. We get to. It's an experience.
Right.
Remember that the people drive that experience.
Yeah. And if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others.
That whole,
how fluffy is that? But how accurate is that?
Well, so a lot of people are going to fly home, right? The old put the mask on first. It's corny and cheesy, but if you really look at it, it's put your mask on first, because if you go down, we're in trouble. I was an ocean lifeguard. That was a job in the summer. I got paid to sit on the beach. And they taught us, right, that, well, you'd go into it, never leave someone behind, do anything to help someone. And they said, you have to make sure you're okay out in the middle of the ocean, because if you go down, if that person pulls you down, you're both in trouble, right? So making sure that you're okay. And now you're able to lead others. If Jill left, there would have been a giant void, and other people might have felt. We do something called the parting shot. Did you prepare for this?
No.
So it's your chance for mic drop moment, soapbox statement, whatever your parting shot would be. What would it be for this story or this experience and learning opportunity in your life?
Yeah, well, I want to circle it back to what got me, what first started my first day, right? So setting that good foot forward and creating that emotion, because that's going to be what you fall back on.
Yeah.
So what I do during my program and with my new hires, I ask to do me a favor and take a mental snapshot, whether it be a lesson, a memory, or a feeling. But whatever that is, hold on to it and put in your fall back on it.
Yeah.
But on the flip, also, if you're a leader or an employer, what are you going to do? What lesson so that they have the tools to fight burnout or to leave?
Be the person that you wished was there for you, or be the person, an image of that person that was there for you when you needed them.
Right.
That's kind of what leadership is. It's not spreadsheets. I mean, I know you like spreadsheets, and they're in there, but really it's leading. You can't be a leader if you're not leading anyone. So it's still about. Thanks for sharing your story. Can't be easy to do, because that, I imagine, felt scary to go through that.
So it was a deep, dark road, but I think I had referenced earlier when we were talking back, but it's like the phoenix rising from the ashes.
Yeah.
You know?
Your whole face changed when you said that. I'm being serious. Like you're going to look back on this bad thing, and you're different. Phoenix is different, right?
Yeah.
When you rise from the ashes, you're different. And the cool part about that, too, is, the reason we do hard things is so later on when something else comes up, like why do we run marathons or why do we do these things? It's so later on when something else, we say, oh yeah, I know how to do hard things. You've gone through this. You are changed, and now when you come up with something else, and it will happen, I'm sorry, but it will, you'll say, oh, okay, I don't know exactly how I'm getting through this, but I know I've done it before, and I'll figure out the tools to do it again. Jill, appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Thank you.